The year 2025 took post-apocalyptic cinema to an entirely new level. We've seen worlds torn apart by war, the collapse of civilization, and disasters that turned Earth into a wasteland. Each of these stories proves that the end of the world is just the beginning of something even more terrifying and strangely beautiful. In this video, you'll discover 14 of the most powerful, visually stunning, and emotional post-apocalyptic movies and series of 2025. And at the very end, an exclusive look at my own original post-apocalyptic mini-series, a project born from a passion for the end of the world, and it's only just beginning. On the Run. 5 years after the collapse of civilization, the world is in chaos. A group of survivors continues to wander, without a permanent home, without security, just to survive another day. Every step can be a trap, every stop a challenge. Between the ruins of devastated cities and deserted lands lurks a new evil that knows no mercy. In this brutal reality, the heroes must face not only external threats, but also growing internal conflicts, betrayals, and secrets, because survival is not just about living. This is a story of hope, desperation, and the price of freedom when the whole world lies in ruins. El Eterno. It's snowing in Buenos Aires, but this is no ordinary winter. Anyone who touches the white flakes dies instantly. In a matter of hours, the bustling city turns into a dead, silent desert. Juan Salvo and his friends barricade themselves in their home, trying to understand what is happening. Their supplies are quickly running out, and the deadly snow cuts them off from the world. When they finally venture outside, they discover that it is not nature that has turned against humans. It is the beginning of an alien invasion. Giant machines, controlled by invisible beings, comb through the ruins of the city. Every day is a struggle for survival, and the line between human and monster begins to blur. El Eterno is an apocalyptic, claustrophobic tale of fear, sacrifice, and how far one can go to save those they love. In the Lost Lands, in a world where magic mixes with harsh survival, a woman named Grey Alice embarks on a dangerous mission to gain the power to transform into a wolf. Accompanied by a cunning mercenary, a drifter named Boyce, she crosses the borders of a mysterious kingdom known as the Lost Lands, a place where desires come at a price and every decision leads to ruin. The deeper they venture into this wild, unpredictable land, the more their journey turns into a battle with themselves. Is it worth sacrificing everything to get what you want? The film In the Lost Lands is a dark fantasy and a story about power, betrayal, and the thin line between magic and madness. Roswell Delirium. In an alternate reality of the 1980s, the United States falls victim to a series of nuclear attacks. In the ruins of the country, people pretend that everything is as it used to be, although many of them suffer from radiation and a mysterious disease. Young Mayday Malone, trying to contact her father via amateur radio, picks up a signal not from Earth. It is a call for help from outer space. The trail leads her to Space Rock, a legendary place near what was once Area 51. Soon she is poisoned by radiation. Her organs refuse to obey. Knowing that medicine is not enough, her mother Wendy decides to immerse her in the world of aliens, hoping for a miracle. In the background are themes of trauma, experiments, myths, and whispers of conspiracy. Will the heroine return from this journey? Roswell Delirium is a dark mix of sci-fi, drama, and mystery in which the past hurts as much as the future, the electric state. Michelle Green lost everything, her family, her memories, her hope, after the war between humans and machines. She now lives as an orphan, surrounded by a world that, instead of healing wounds, is sinking into a digital illusion. One day, a robot named Cosmo arrives at her home, claiming to contain the mind of her missing brother, Christopher. Intrigued and desperate, Michelle embarks on a dangerous journey through the post-apocalyptic United States of the 1990s, where she begins to understand the depth and cruelty of technological manipulation. she is joined by the mysterious drifter Keats and the sentient robot Herman. Together, they must face the Center Corporation and restore the boundary between machine and soul. This is a story of loss, identity, and redemption in a world where the line between human and robot is blurred in the light of pixels. Twisted Metal Season 2. Season 2 of Twisted Metal takes John Doe and Quiet into the heart of a brutal death tournament organized by the mysterious Calypso. This is no longer a simple fight for survival. It's a bloody spectacle in which every driver can earn one wish if they survive the chaos. John tries to recover his memories of his former life, and his relationship with Quiet becomes increasingly complicated. When Dollface, a dangerous warrior who turns out to be his sister, appears on the scene, everything spirals out of control. Amid explosions, betrayals, and insane chases, iconic characters such as Sweet Tooth and Axel appear. The second season is a spectacular mix of action, dark humor, and emotion, in which the line between hero and monster becomes increasingly blurred, and the world of Twisted Metal becomes a battlefield for the soul of humanity. Odessa. In a ruined, toxic world of the future, a young woman from a remote farm sets out on a journey to reclaim what was taken from her: love, freedom, and her own identity. She wanders through barren lands until she reaches a giant neon city where people live under the rule of a ruthless tyrant who controls everything, even music and emotions. There, she meets a charismatic musician whose sounds can move even the most indifferent hearts. Their bond becomes the beginning of a revolution, but also a curse. When her beloved is taken from her, the woman enters a brutal musical tournament in which the prize is the fulfillment of one wish. She wins, but the price is tragic. She regains her beloved, but loses his soul. In an act of despair and courage, she destroys the entire system, becoming a symbol of freedom that will survive even after the end of the world. Before we move on, quick question. 4 post-apocalyptic movies. Which one do you think rules them all? Number 1, The Divide. Number 2, The Book of Eli. Number 3, I Am Legend. Number 4, The Road. Type the number or name in the comments. Let's see which world after the end of civilization wins. Now let's get back. The next titles prove the end of the world is only the beginning. All the Lost Ones. In the near future, America is plunged into chaos after the outbreak of a brutal civil war. The land is scorched, cities are deserted, and people are fighting for survival in a world where there are no longer any rules. Among the refugees is Nia, a young woman who, along with her sister Penny and her beloved Ethan, is hiding in an abandoned cabin in the mountains. Every day is a struggle for silence, for breath, for not revealing their existence. But their peace does not last long. A rebel unit led by a ruthless leader who leaves no survivors is approaching. When their hideout is discovered, Nia must decide whether to surrender, flee, or fight to the end. In a world where loyalty is a luxury and love is a weakness, the only way to survive is to lose everything that is human. All the Lost Ones is a dark, emotional story about how war can destroy not only a country, but also the hearts of those who still believe in hope. The Road to Nowhere. After a disaster at a nuclear power plant, Poland turns into a wasteland where every day is a struggle for survival. The few survivors try to find meaning in a world without law, hope, or future. Among them is a young man who sets out on a journey across the devastated country to find his family and the last place he can call home. Along the way, he meets other castaways of the new reality, people destroyed by hunger, fear, and loneliness. Soon he encounters a group of ruthless bandits who know no mercy. Forced to fight, he discovers that the greatest threat is not radiation, but humanity, which dies faster in people than the world around them. The Road to Nowhere is a raw, suspenseful story about moral choices, loss, and the hope that even in the ruins of the world, a spark of goodness can still smolder. 40 Acres. After years of war and disaster, the world has fallen into ruin. Land has become the most precious commodity, and survival a privilege. In a corner of the world cut off from civilization, former soldier Haley Freeman runs a farm with her family, the only peaceful place in a world full of violence. It is their home, their last 40 acres of freedom. But when armed gangs and groups of cannibals begin to appear in the area, peace turns into a daily struggle. Haley must defend what remains of her former life while facing the rebellion of her teenage son, who wants to explore the world beyond the fence. The tension rises when a mysterious woman from the past appears, who could be either their salvation or their downfall. 40 Acres is a dark, realistic post-apocalyptic thriller about a family fighting not only external threats, but also their own demons. Woken. On an island cut off from the world, a young woman wakes up after an accident, unable to remember who she is or how she got there. The only person who helps her is the mysterious Dr. Helen, a woman who claims that the world outside the island has been destroyed by a deadly virus. Anna, as the doctor calls her, gradually regains her strength, but with each passing day she begins to realize that something is wrong with this place. At night, she hears screams, someone moving in the distance, and samples of terrifying origin hidden in locked rooms. As flashes of memory begin to return, she fears that she was not brought here to be saved, but to be used. In an atmosphere of paranoia and silent horror, the woman discovers the truth about an experiment that has spiraled out of control and the role she is to play in it. This is a story about survival, manipulation, and the thin line between hope and madness. Afterburn. 10 years after a giant solar flare destroyed all technology on Earth, humanity has regressed to a brutal time of chaos. In a world without electricity, computers, or weapons of mass destruction, only a handful of people have survived, trading in relics of the old civilization. Jake, a former soldier and treasure hunter, is hired to recover one of the most valuable works of art from before the disaster, the legendary Mona Lisa. He embarks on a deadly journey through a ruined Europe, where he meets Drea, a woman fighting to rebuild a free world. Together they face gangs, mercenaries, and the ruthless General Volkov, who wants to take control of the surviving artifacts. Amid the ruins and ashes, a struggle emerges not only for survival, but for what remains of humanity. Afterburn is an adrenaline-fueled action film with elements of sci-fi and post-apocalyptic adventure, in which the light of the past becomes the weapon of the future. Billionaires Bunker. The world is on the brink of disaster. War, epidemics, and natural disasters have forced people to fight for survival. The richest and most influential, wanting to secure their lives, bought access to a gigantic modern underground bunker, a veritable underground city with luxury apartments, years' worth of food and medicine supplies, and advanced security systems. However, comfort and isolation do not protect against tension, loneliness, and moral dilemmas. Conflicts erupt among the residents, and each day is a balance between a sense of security and the awareness that the world above ground is falling apart irretrievably, and that decisions made underground can determine the fate of the entire community. After watching all these movies, I realized there still aren't enough great post-apocalyptic stories. So I decided to create my own, my vision of the end of the world, made with the help of AI. This is just the beginning, but if you like it, I'll make more, stronger, deeper, and more realistic. Technology keeps evolving, and so does the apocalypse. The Day They Fell. The Day They Fell is a post-apocalyptic mini-series about the end of humanity, not caused by war or disease, but by something no one could explain. One day, every human on Earth simply collapsed. Then they appeared, the faceless. They didn't speak, they didn't kill, they just watched. And when people stood up again, they started to run, as if something had taken control. Over time, the truth emerges. The faceless are not aliens or demons, but an ancient civilization hidden beneath the ice of Antarctica, the very beings who created mankind. Now they've returned to correct their mistake and erase what they once built. It's the story of the last survivors trying to uncover the truth before the world is updated.